The small fishing village rested quietly along the coast, where the sound of waves crashing against the shore could be heard day and night. It was a place where old traditions were respected and strange stories were passed down from generation to generation. The elders often warned people about certain superstitions, claiming they existed for a reason. One of the oldest beliefs was that you should never make plans out loud while standing outside at night. According to local folklore, there were things hiding in the darkness, listening to conversations and waiting for the perfect opportunity to interfere. Most young people laughed at the warning and dismissed it as nonsense. Jose was one of them. At 20 years old, Jose worked as a fisherman in the same coastal village where he had been born and raised. He still lived with his mother, and his girlfriend, Raven, lived only a short distance away. Their families had known each other for years and often fished in the same waters. One evening after work, Jose met Raven for a quiet drink at a small local bar. They spent hours talking and laughing together, completely unaware that a simple conversation would soon change Jose's life forever. By the time they left the bar, the streets were nearly empty. The moon hung high above them as they walked home together along a lonely road. Their path led them past an old cemetery that overlooked the village. The air was calm and silent, and the pale moonlight was the only thing guiding them through the darkness. When they finally reached Jose's house, he stopped near the front gate and turned toward Raven with a smile. "Why don't we leave a little earlier tomorrow?" he suggested. "If we get to the shore before everyone else, we'll have the best fishing spot." Raven nodded. "That's a great idea. I'll come by around 5 in the morning. Be ready when I call for you." "Sounds good," Jose replied. They shared a quick kiss, waved goodbye, and headed in opposite directions. Neither of them realized that they had just broken one of the village's oldest rules. A few hours later, Jose was suddenly awakened by the sound of someone calling his name outside his bedroom window. "Jose! Wake up! Let's go!" Still half asleep, he sat up and rubbed his eyes. The voice sounded exactly like Raven's. He walked over to the window and looked outside. Standing in the front yard was Raven. She was staring directly at him without moving. Jose glanced at the clock beside his bed and frowned. It was only 4:30 in the morning. "You're early," he called down. "Hurry up," Raven replied. "It'll be daylight soon." Not wanting to keep her waiting, Jose quickly got dressed and grabbed his fishing gear. He hurried downstairs and opened the front door. By the time he stepped outside, Raven had already started walking down the road. "Hey, wait for me," he shouted as he ran after her. Strangely, she didn't answer. She never looked back. No matter how fast Jose moved, he couldn't get any closer to her. The distance between them remained exactly the same. Whenever he sped up, Raven seemed to speed up too. A strange feeling began to grow in the pit of his stomach. Something about the situation felt wrong. The road eventually led toward their favorite fishing spot. To reach it, they had to cross a narrow bridge stretching over a deep trench. Raven stepped onto the bridge and walked toward the center. Then she suddenly stopped. She stood completely still with her back facing Jose. The darkness around her seemed unnaturally heavy. "Raven?" Jose called nervously. There was no response. Not wanting to stand beside her on the bridge, he bent down and pretended to tie his shoe. "Go ahead," he said. "I'll catch up in a second." For several long moments, nothing happened. Then Raven slowly turned around. Jose felt his heart nearly stop. The face staring back at him looked like Raven's, but something about it was terribly wrong. She was smiling, but it wasn't a normal smile. Her mouth stretched unnaturally wide across her face, exposing far too many teeth. Her eyes looked empty, cold, and lifeless. It was a smile unlike anything Jose had ever seen before. Frozen in fear, he watched as the thing wearing Raven's face continued grinning at him. Then suddenly, without warning, it threw itself off the side of the bridge. Jose gasped and rushed forward. The figure disappeared into the darkness below. For a brief second, everything was silent. Then he heard screaming. "Jose! Help me!" The voice was Raven's. Jose ran to the edge of the bridge and peered down into the trench. He expected to see his girlfriend injured somewhere below. Instead, he saw nothing but darkness. "Raven! Where are you?" he shouted desperately. "Help me! Please help me!" the voice screamed again. Jose searched frantically for any sign of her, but there was nothing there. The darkness below seemed endless. Every instinct told him to jump down and save her. He stepped closer to the edge, preparing himself to leap. Then he heard something that made him freeze. Between Raven's screams, someone was laughing. At first, the sound was faint. Then it grew louder. It wasn't a normal laugh. It sounded playful, mocking, and cruel at the same time. The laughter echoed through the trench and seemed to come from everywhere. Jose felt the blood drain from his face. Suddenly he understood. Whatever was down there wanted him to jump. Wanted him to follow it into the darkness. The old warning from the village elders flashed through his mind. Never make plans outside at night. Something might be listening. Terrified, Jose backed away from the bridge. Every instinct in his body screamed that he was in danger. He turned around and ran as fast as he could. He sprinted down the road toward home without looking back even once. When he burst through the front door, he rushed upstairs to wake his mother. One look at his pale face told her that something terrible had happened. Jose struggled to explain what he had seen. His hands were shaking so badly that he could barely speak. "I think something happened to Raven," he whispered. "I don't know what I saw out there." His mother wrapped her arms around him and tried to calm him down. Jose felt overwhelmed by fear, guilt, and confusion. He couldn't stop thinking about the screams coming from the trench. Then suddenly, a familiar voice drifted through the morning air outside. "Jose! Wake up! Let's go!" Both Jose and his mother froze. Slowly, Jose walked toward the bedroom window. His heart pounded so hard he thought it might burst from his chest. He looked outside. Standing in the front yard was Raven. The real Raven. She looked completely normal. She smiled and waved. Confused, Jose glanced at the clock beside his bed. It was 5:10 a.m. "I'm sorry I'm late," Raven called cheerfully. Jose simply stared at her. If Raven had only just arrived. Then who had been standing outside his window at 4:30 that morning? And what exactly had been waiting for him on that bridge? Jose never discovered the answer. But from that day forward, he never ignored the old superstitions again. Because sometimes, when you make plans in the darkness, something else may be listening.